What is going on YouTube? Fascinating graveyard. Today we are at the Lebanon Cemetery here in Lebanon, Ohio, just outside of Cincinnati on this rainy day. We're going to visit the final resting place of Paul Michael Larson. Most of you do not know who he is. But some of you out there remember that this is the guy that scammed the television game show Press Your Luck. Or did he scam them? I guess it's up to you to decide whether he scammed them or not. So allow me to tell you the story as quickly as I can. This is a pretty interesting story. So Paul was born on May 10th, 1949 here in Lebanon, Ohio. And, his family and friends, people that knew him described him as basically just kind of like a guy who marched to the beat of his own drum. His longtime girlfriend said that he had a good heart and loved learning, almost had a thirst for knowledge, if you will. At the time, when he was living out here in the early 80s, he was an AC repairman. And in the summers, he would drive an ice cream truck just to, make ends meet or whatever. Now, one thing that Paul loved to do, he loved watching game shows, especially Press Your Luck. So oftentimes he would have his girlfriend, record the game show while he was at work. And he would get off work, come home, and watch recordings of it. That's what he enjoyed doing. He also enjoyed watching infomercials, watching those, get rich quick schemey infomercials, those multi-level marketing things, like I made $50,000 in my one-bedroom apartment. Remember that guy? So this guy just loved watching these, like I invested $5,000 and I made $700 million, these things. And he one day dreamed about just making a lot of money. He was a smart guy. This guy had a very keen eye for things. So one day he's sitting at home watching a taping of Press Your Luck. Now, Press Your Luck, I didn't watch it as a kid. I wasn't really into it. I liked watching game shows, but not that one. But basically, Press Your Luck, it was hosted by Peter Tamarkin. And in the game, basically, it's 3 contestants, and the host asked them a series of questions, right? And if you get a question correctly, you get a chance at three spins, on this thing called a big board. I'll get into that in a minute. If you answered correctly on a multiple choice question, you got 1 spin. So they would cycle through the contestants. Depending on how many answers you got correctly would determine how many chances you had on spinning on the big board. Now, let's talk about the big board. The big board basically is this light board thing. It has 18 squares, and they randomly go through different cash prizes. Maybe you win a boat, go on a trip, so forth and so on. It was 18 squares, and it was just randomness. And you would hit that red stopper to stop the board on whatever prize, it was just random. So you hit the board thing, and you might stop on $500. And then the guy will say, hey, you want to press your luck? You want to go again? You might want to try to win $1,000. Sometimes you do, all right, cool. If you hit, let's say $2,500, you want to press your luck? No, $2,500 is fine. And then you go back, and then they do the question thing again. But if you fell on a whammy, you would lose all your money. That's why, if you won $1,500, it's like you want to press your luck, you might get a whammy, you might lose all your money. Now, the chances of you hitting a whammy while you were playing that game was 1 in 6. So they would normally, when people would hit the whammy and lose all their money, that would, they would take like a television commercial break, right? So this guy, Paul, he starts noticing that there's only 5 different patterns within this light board. So he has, in a sense, just by watching episode after episode after episode of Press Your Luck, this guy's like, man, I think I can go on the show and clean up. Because in the second round, get this, when it's going like, if you hit on, let's say, this square, it'll give you $750 plus you get to spin again. And he felt that he knew the pattern so well that he could earn a free spin over and over and over again. Just keep getting free spins. And mind you, when regular people are playing this, they're not playing that long because they get nervous because they don't want to hit a whammy. So they'll just give up and just take the $3,000. So this guy's like, all right, I got to get over to California or Los Angeles to go try to get on this show. Now, he knows the pattern. He knows what to do. He knows what he can accomplish, but he still has to get on the show. So he books like the cheapest ticket he can find, flies out to LA. Okay, so he's in this tryout thing right now. Again, you're flying out to LA, but you're not guaranteed to get on the TV program. I guess they kind of got to get a feeling of you to see if you would be good on TV, right? Or something along those lines. So he goes to the audition, right? And, you know, this guy, you know, he's not necessarily charismatic, or he doesn't have a certain kind of look where they're like, okay, let's get this guy on the television program. So one of the producers of the TV program, his name was Bob Edwards. Supposedly, I think he might be BSing, I don't know. But supposedly he said that when Paul was on, like when he was doing the audition, he had a bad feeling about him. Yeah, but that's what they all say, right? Yeah, I had a bad feeling about him. Sure you did. Sure you did. He supposedly did not want this guy on the program for whatever reason he claims he felt. But Bill Carruthers, I guess he would be the executive producer, or basically he's the one that has the final say on who goes on the show. He's like, no, he's good. Let him on the show. Okay, he made it. He made it on the show. Now he's going to put his theory to test. Is this really true, or was I full of crap? We're about to find out. So the original airing for that TV program was supposed to air on June 8th, 1984. That date, please don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. So he's on the show, and then you had the returning champion on one side. He was the guy, and then you had the lady on the other side. Janie Litris, I think, and then Ed Long was the champion. Something like that, that was her name. So they start playing. Now, this guy's nervous. First of all, you're on TV. And you're like, you could win a lot of money. And this guy, you know, he's an AC repairman. He drives an ice cream truck. He doesn't have a lot of money. So one of the first questions, he buzzes in too quick. He didn't even barely let him read the question. And then, of course, he answered wrong. So he did really, really badly the first go around. So he only got to earn 3 spins. So he goes to the big board first, and he, bam, whammy. So this guy's like, oh, like, wow, this isn't, like, I'm nervous. This isn't what I thought it was going to be, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so he goes in again. He's playing the big board, right? He has a couple more spins, and he ends up cleaning up pretty nicely. I think he earned about, don't quote me, what is it, $2,600 or something like that? Something like that. So he's on the board. So he has some money, right? Maybe it was $4,000, right? So they go back, and then they do the whole thing again. So this guy, on the second go around on the big board, he's going to basically test his theory out. In his theory, he should be able to just rack up the money on the second round. Because as long as you keep hitting that free spin, $750 free spin, $1,000 free spin, $1,200 free spin, you just keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And he knows when to hit that red plunger thing. So the second round, he's hitting it. He knows the pattern. He knows that a certain square will land on the fourth lit square. That's always the big money square. So he's aiming for like the 4th and 8th squares. So he's getting $750 free spin, $1,000 free spin, $500 free spin. So he's going. Now listen, when you play that big board, remember when I talked about the whammy? The whammy is like the little red devil character. It takes all your money, right? So people don't spin on that big board too long because either you're going to get the whammy and lose all your money, or you don't want to get the whammy. You want to keep your money because you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting the whammy. But this guy ain't getting no whammy because he knows like when to hit that plunger thing. He knows where to strike. So he's playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. And this guy, he's up to $40,000. Now, normally when somebody quits, like they don't want to spin anymore and they go back to the question part of it, that's when they take their television commercial break. But this guy keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. And behind the scenes, like in the control room, you know, the producers, they're looking at each other. They're like, what the hell? Like they wanted to stop the game. They're like, dude, there's something weird. Like there's something going on, obviously. And I bet you that one guy, the Bob guy was like, see, I told you I didn't want to let him on the show. So this guy is spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And listen, we're not going to turn this YouTube video into like a 2-hour documentary. But this guy hit no whammies and kept spinning and spinning and spinning and ended up winning about $103,000. I wish I could break it down to you on the chances of you being able to win $103,000 without hitting a whammy once. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. And let's say you're at $60,000 and you've been playing like 15 times without hitting a whammy. That's almost impossible. Why would you risk, if you have $60,000, why would you risk, playing again and again and again? Because he knew he wasn't going to get that whammy. He knew that he was going to be able to keep his money. So after the he spun the board so long that it was the length of 2 episodes of Press Your Luck. And this guy Peter Tamarkin is like going nuts. Like, I don't think he's going nuts. Like, wow, like he's happy for him. Like Peter Tamarkin's like, what in the living? Like he's like, just like he's beyond words. But the audience is going nuts. They're going crazy. They're like, woohoo, yeah. Now, I think there's I don't know if it was in the contract or if there was an unwritten rule. Don't quote me. I read somewhere that there was a cap, like a $25,000 cap. Either they like cap people that they can't come back after $25,000. I don't freaking know. All right. I just kind of walk and talk these things, but $103,000, and they didn't want to pay him because they knew what he was doing. They knew it. They knew he was scamming them, but he wasn't scamming them. He didn't scam them at all. He just played them at their own game and won. All he did was just memorize the light patterns. They had their lawyers looking at all of the contractual paperwork, all the stuff that he signed. Nothing. They couldn't not legally pay his money because he could sue them, and then he would still get the money. And guys, here's a little bit of a fun fact. TV game shows, they're in the business to make money, not to lose money. So begrudgingly, they paid him his money. He walked away after taxes about $90,000. Now, this guy, basically, at the end of the day, he lost all of his money with the supposed bad real estate deals. And then somebody had broke into his house, and I guess they knew he had money. Somebody robbed him. And this is his grave. This is the grave of Michael Larson. He died February 16th, 1999. So, like I was saying about this guy, he was, after the Press Your Luck thing, he was like basically trying to chase the dragon. And I guess he got involved in this fake Indian lottery scam where he scammed like thousands of people out of a couple $1 million. The IRS and the FBI, they got wind of him and they came after him and he fled Ohio and he disappeared. And they were looking for this guy and they didn't find him until he was dead. He died of cancer at 49 years of age. And I believe those are his parents, resting right over there. You know, hey, listen, just, you know, an interesting story about a guy who just, it's crazy. He just had that eye. He just said, oh, I got the pattern down. And he got $100,000 out of it. But unfortunately, he basically lost it all and winded up scamming other people. And, you know, what are you going to do? Now, originally, the producers, they didn't want to air the show because they didn't want to, I guess they didn't, you know, they didn't want to be embarrassed. But they ended up airing the show, so they broke it down into 2 episodes, and it was the highest rated press your luck game in television history. But I still don't believe, just because of the ratings, I don't think they were able to recoup the money that they lost by having to give it to old Paul right here. Huh? I thought this video was going to be under 10 minutes. I thought wrong. Well, anyways, rest in peace to the Larson family. And you know what? Hey, yeah, you know, he did a bad thing with the scamming thing, but hey, we all have a story at the end of the day, right? We all have a story at the end of the day. So, yeah, he did scam some people, right, with the Indian lottery thing. He did scam some people. But you know, he got over on them. So leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. Do you think he scammed the Press Your Luck people, or you think he won the money fair and square? There is a 2-hour documentary on YouTube about this, but it's just better to watch my video because I'm a lot more entertaining. Don't you think? Nah. Some of you are like, no, not really. I like the other guy better. Fascinating graveyard. I'm out of here, guys. I got to hit the road. Stories like this, I just love doing. I just love, you know, famous for the 15 minutes, huh? Famous for the 15 minutes and then lights out and the world forgets about you. But not me, not this channel. Good or bad, at the end of the day, we all have a story at the end of the day. I passed some graves I'm going to go look at as I was walking up here. I'll catch up with you guys later. Have a good one. Peace out.